3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop.
Okay, please mark your bag with your blue colored pencil. Mark where it hit, the side close to the start, mark it T1.
Right T1.
No, we're not measuring, we're just marking with the blue colored pencil because we're going to do all three and then measure all three in the interest of time. Just make sure to label that T1. Good. One would be fine as well. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if someone here could just mark that one, that would be great. That's a great idea. Thank you. What the suggestion was that someone in Group A could also mark the first one because there wasn't anyone to mark that, and if it didn't land right at the beginning, that's obviously a difference. Something else I was trying to do that I forgot to mention before is about dropping it from the same height, which is a control as well. I was trying to drop it from waist height each time, because obviously if I drop it from here, or if I drop it from here, those are two different things. That's just another method of control. So same thing for T2, whenever you are ready, I will begin.
Drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop.
That one made me nervous. Okay, so if you can please just mark where the bag is. Mark this one T2. We're going to do this one more time. And this, again, this is something for you to talk to your kids about how valuable it is for repeated trials.
I thought we were using a different one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Where's your first one?
Right here.
And for the third and last trial for this type of motion, whenever you are ready, I will begin.
Drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop, Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi 4, Mississippi drop.
Okay, before you mark on your sheets, may I borrow someone's sheet for a quick minute, please? Thank you. The only thing that you need to do with your group here, you're going to mark this one T3. You're going to measure all three distances, T1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. Average them out so you get the average distance. And you're just writing down your one number in the one column, the mean distance from...
There's the T1 of the previous group. And that you measure from the T1 of your group.
They were okay with measuring distances. They were trying to work out solutions like
and you
we're just going to share our data out so everyone has everyone else's data. So Group A, on the left side of the paper, the first type of motion, what was your mean distance from the previous pad?
313.3.
313.3 was Group A's mean distance. Group B? Someone from Group B?
300.83.
300.83 was Group B's. Group C?
305.6.
305.6. Group D?
286.3.
286.3. And Group E?
264.1.
264.1. And the time in seconds for everybody, we all used 5 seconds for this. So those are just 5s down the list because for our experiment we had the space to be able to use 5 seconds. Now on the right side, the variable motion, Group A, what was your mean distance? 149.3. Thank you. Group B, what was your mean distance?
586.6.
586.6. What things did you see out there that you might run into with your kids? Problems that you might run into? Things that were clearer for you? Any comments, feedback at all? Yes?
Every group marked them T1, T2, T3. We were thinking it might be easier for Group A to mark it A1, A2, A3, Group B to mark it B1, B2, B3, so you knew between which T1s you're measuring, because sometimes it got a little.
That's a great idea. That maybe instead of labeling T1, T2, T3, you could have, Group A label A1, A2, A3. Group B label B1, B2, B3. Certainly a great idea. Yes, ma'am?
I noticed on all three trials, when you got toward the end, you were running out of space and you shortened your stride.
Okay, now that would be a great example of human error. Human error is, again, something to discuss with your kids. That's a variable. You try to control it. You'll try to control it when you're doing this, but obviously you'll make mistakes as well. The first type of motion, in a perfect world, the numbers should have all been the same. But on the first type of motion, they're all slightly different. They're around in the same ballpark, so that's the challenge to try to get your kids to buy into that. That when it's steady motion, when they're calculating it and making the graph, the line may have some variation, but should be approximately steady. Whereas variable motion, the graph should be all over the place, up and down, up and down. That leads me to space, that I personally ran into when I did this. I didn't have a long hallway to do it. I had to do it within my classroom. Some of you in portables may not have a long hallway right outside. So when I had to do it right inside my classroom, I just shortened it to 3 seconds instead of 5 seconds. Or you could even shorten it to 2 seconds if you're really short of space. That's why that column, as far as seconds, is blank in this version of the guide. Other feedback? Yes, ma'am.
It would be good to have a place for them to record the distance for each trial before they calculate the mean, because if there's an error in what they recorded or calculated, they'll understand how math is important and that data is important.
That's a great point about, recording, having a separate space to record all 3 of their measurements so they can go back and check their calculations if necessary, or should be necessary. So then that actually leads me to the math integration from